This is the story of Peedy the snake. And Peedy was just a little green snake about this long, and like most of the snakes in his time, he was born or hatched in a snake pit. And it wasn't very long until Peedy became aware that there was some hissing going on in the pit. And that's the adult snakes were hissing. And it wasn't long till Peedy found out that he could hiss too, and he started hissing in the pit. And in fact, he hissed so much that he started to get on his mother's nerves. And his mother says, Peedy, don't hiss in the pit. If you got to hiss, go outside the pit to hiss. So Peedy went outside the pit to hiss, and it wasn't as much fun hissing outside the pit as it was hissing in the pit. So he leaned his head back over in the pit and hissed. And his mother said, Peedy, I said, don't hiss in the pit. If you got to hiss in the pit, go over to Miss Potts' pit to hiss. So he went over to Miss Potts' pit to hiss, but Miss Potts wasn't home, and so he went on into her pit and hissed anyway. And while he was hissing in her pit, well, Miss Potts came home and she says, Peedy, why are you hissing in my pit? If you got to hiss in the pit, go in your own pit to hiss. So this made Peedy very sad, and he was crying and started crawling home, and his mother saw him, and she said, Peedy, what's the matter? And he said, well, I went over to Miss Potts' pit to hiss like you told me, and Miss Potts wasn't home, so I went on into her pit and hissed anyway. And while I was hissing in her pit, well, Miss Potts came home and she said, Peedy, why are you hissing in my pit? If you got to hiss in the pit, go in your own pit to hiss. And his mother said, well, that mean old snake. I used to know her when she didn't have a pit to hiss in.